Alright, so for this next section, I actually wanted to do things a little bit different. Instead of doing projects, we're going to do characters. I found a cool little easy link to use that's going to give us a JSON file. So let's do that instead. So in our nav, so let's go includes nav. Instead of having projects, let's just actually have characters. And that's going to be characters. This capital C. So save that. Oh, I'm not serving it right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So at npx at Eleventy. You actually don't need to at. I'm sorry. And then slash Eleventy dash serve. So serve that up so it's actually running. So now we're back. There's characters now. And let's actually make it so we have some characters. First, what we're going to do is actually make a JS file so we grab some JSON data. So we're going to go up to the data folder, which I don't have one right now. So let's make a data folder. So new folder, and it's going to be underscore data or data, whichever you want to say, and new file, and it's going to be characters.js. Okay, and then there we're going to do a Axios call. So let's close out of this, the serving, and you're going to do an Npm Install Axios if you don't have it installed. I already had it installed, so it's pretty quick and easy. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to reserve my page. And inside this characters.js, we're going to do const Axios equals require, and then Axios. And then we're doing module.exports. Hopefully you're familiar with ES6. Async. And we're going to have an arrow function, and we're going to have const result equals 08. And then Axios.get, and then we're going to do HTTPS Rick and Morty. I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. API.com/character. All right, and then below that, you're going to return result.data.results. All right, it looks like arrow was thrown. Let's say 404, which is, it's not finding a link. So open, let's see, we get a big 404. So what did I type right? Rick and Morty, API.com/, oh, I forgot the API. So /API/character. All right, so let me refresh that. Actually, I gotta type that in first. API, and there we are. So this is the API that they have, and obviously it's making it more pretty, but basically it's going to give us information about each character. You got your name, your status, species, type, and then there's going to be episodes that he's in, which we're not going to use any of that, but so this is the overall results that we're grabbing right here. So it's data.results, so it's just an array. So this is an array of objects that have information in it. Okay? All right, so we are going to make a new file, and it's going to be characters, so MD. And we're also going to have a new file called character. If I can spell, we can have it. There we go, character.md. So characters is going to be like the main overall page, and then each character is going to go into the individual ones. So we're going to do that one first, and so let's do --, and what we're doing is layout, layout.liquid. Title is going to be Rick and Morty characters. And we're going to use Pagination, which we haven't used yet. But basically, Pagination will give us the collection, basically just like our collections in the blog there. it's going to use the same thing, except it's going to separate it out for us. All right, so this is going to be, so it's going to use the data of characters. Now it already knows if you use data and then characters, it's going to look in the data folders and look for a file named characters. So there's characters, and actually, you know what? This, cut that out and put it in this folder instead. I think it'll make more sense if it's in this folder, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's put this in the character.md file instead, and then let's keep going. Alias is going to be character, because we're going to have each character be a character instead of characters. That's why we switched over. And then we're going to have a permalink, and inside of it's going to be quotes characters. Let's actually call it character, and then character dot name, and then slug. So that's the line. So it's the shift and the key above enter, and slash, and then quote. So that's going to be all of those in there. And below it, we are going to write pound character name, and we're going to do let's just do a character dump. So this is just going to dump the full JSON file, and then we'll do the character name and the character image. Actually, I'm not going to use those. I'm just going to say character name, and then character image right below it. Okay. So when you save, it should make a bunch of files. If it doesn't, then just stop your server and reserve it. Sometimes it does that. It is what it is. So just go back and reserve it, and then it should make a bunch of files. Now you'll notice that each character has their own page here. They're using the name slug, so that's what this is. So it's character, so slash character, and then it's character name slug. So instead of having like an ID or a page name, it's actually using their names, and it's a slug, so there's a dash in between, an index. So those all exist, and now we just need a way to get to those page. So now in our characters page, we need to make our regular layout. So let's do the hyphens, and the layout is going to be liquid.layout, or sorry, layout.liquid, and title is going to be Rick. So the other titles, we could actually have done the name using dynamically, but it is what it is. It's not a big deal either way. So that is that, and we're just going to put a pound, and this is the character page. So it puts out the text if you haven't noticed that before. So let me save this real quick and do this. So now if I go to character, let's do it again. It's not loading again. So characters. So it's that. So this is the character. So this is what this pound is. It's just kind of, so when I first write a page, I like to make sure that it's the right page. So I put that in there, and then you can kind of take that out of there. So the first thing we need to do is do a loop. So let's just go into our blog file and grab that loop that we already have made. And I'm going to close some of these out. So let's close all these out. I had a lot of stuff open. So in our characters, we're going to paste that in there. And we're going to have for char in characters. And then we don't need that, but we'll just do a list, and we'll do char and then dump. So now we have a dump of each of the individual guys that we had. So for our layout, let's actually use the blog one. So remember, the layout is in the top folder, So we wanted to go down a folder. So yeah, let's use a blog one instead. So that way we have that margin back. All right. So now we have these individual characters and we kind of have to do some styling to it. So if we look at our documentation, there's cards. And I think that's fine. There's a couple different ways to do it. It's image below, image above. So let's just use this one right here. So we're going to copy that and put that in here instead. So now we have a bunch of cards. And we are going to make the width, that's a little big. So make that 15. And now we just have to go through and fill in our data. So this image is just going to be char image. So char.image. This is the title, the name. So char.name. The subtitle, you can kind of put wherever here. So I think location is actually inside of another. So let's do that first and let's see. So yeah, so location is actually an object. So it's location.name. So there's Earth, Rick Sanchez, and if there's no real data in our char things, so you can kind of go on and fill out more if you want. So instead of putting that P class, you could just do like in another H5. So shift alt down and do like char.gender. You can grab the rest of that information or whatever you want to do. All right, so now we just got to link it. So we want to let me go here, which will be a link. So let's just do a href. Now, remember in our character, we did this permalink. So we can actually use that same slug with that character information and use it here. So link it there, and then instead of character, it's going to be char. And you can put the text back there, let me go here. Or you can do the name, so char.name or link to name, whatever you want to do. So, and then you want to add a class. So class paper btn, save. And now it takes us to the Rick page. So when we created those pages, what we should have done is actually made a link that goes back. So like, you know, the href, and then what was it? Characters. Characters is such a hard word for me to spell for whatever reason. So characters, and go back to characters. All right. So remake those pages. So let me go here, and then there's that go back to characters page. So you can, at this point, you can, I don't have to go take you through all this. You can go through and make these individual cards as well. But you get the idea that it's the individually linked characters that we're linked to. So go back to characters. And the last thing we want to do for this page is we kind of want to get it so it looks a little bit better than that. So what we should do is put them all inside a row. Well, get rid of this UL and put it inside of a row. So up here we'll do div class row, and after the div end there, we'll end it. So there's that. And let's see if they all fit. Yep. So it automatically kind of fills those in there. And it's not quite right, so I think Paper CSS does columns. So let's take a documentation, spacing flexbox, and yeah, so these call for. So let's just use that. So we'll copy that and we'll put it right into our card and see how that looks. And that looks about right. So then you have some space in there would look a little bit better, but I think that right there looks pretty good. So we have individual cards. You can go see Beth. You would have to go through and make Beth look a little bit better. Go back to characters and you have all your characters. So the character page is looking pretty good. The blog page is good. So also with their blog, I know this video is getting a little bit long, but let's just add some links to our little blog there. So we already have the blog set up for this. Now, if we had multiple pages, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pause this real quick and make a few more pages in our blog. So just give me a second here. Okay, I just made a bunch of blogs with, or articles, I guess, with just some names, and then they're all the same date, which doesn't really matter. But we can add the collection to this now, or pagination rather. So let's go pagination, and you tab data, or data, and this will be collections.posts, and the size will be 2, so that means 2 per page. So if you had you know, like a front page, and you want to just like the 3 latest posts, you could just do size 3, and it'll do them in order. Then you would have to do descending, which is all in the docs. So alias posts. So now instead of having collections.post here, we can have posts, and everything should stay the same. And now we can just add on some pagination on the bottom. So we can just add our tag here, and if pagination.href, I can't type, href dot previous. So if a previous button exists, then we want to put that into the code. So href, and then you want to do double brackets, and then pagination.href dot previous. So if it exists, then put it out there. If it doesn't, go about your business. So then we'll put a previous page in here. Yes, previous page, as I'm hitting shift by accident, and put a quote there. So previous page, and then we got to end it out. So you got to do end if. So %% end if. Oh, I don't need to enter. And then you're going to do the same exact thing and for next. So I'm going to shift up. I'm going to grab all 3 of them. So shift, and then shift alt down if you're using VS Code. And the previous, which you can double click, and you can grab them by doing Command D. And it looks like I misspelled it, so that's not going to work. So there we go. There's just the 2. Okay. It's not grabbing that other one because of the caps. So let's do next there. And we'll type this manually. So next page. So now, if this updates, which it looks like it's not, let's stop the server and restart it real quick. Sometimes we run into this issue, which I'm sure I've mentioned. So I'll reserve that page, I hit refresh, and nothing. A whole lot of nothing. So let's take a look and see what's going on. Okay, I don't know if you guys caught it, but this up here is actually posts instead of posts. Because in my individual posts, I have tags.post instead of posts. So it's collections.post, and that's what the issue was. Okay. So we have the size 2, and then the next page we have the next 2. Now this CSS thing is another issue that I don't really have an easy solution for. You can kind of fix it with JavaScript or add it with JavaScript, the CSS dynamically, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, and I want to make this as simple as possible. So if you haven't figured it out, it's this style.css. It's inside of a folder again, like we did before. So now it needs the 2 of those, and there's no really easy way to add those. So after some messing around, I figured the best way is to just add the full, so styles.css, and then just add the full link to that blog layout. So instead of having it go like that, relative, we're just going to do a full absolute path. So now when we refresh, it's going to be down there, and the regular backplate works too, which is fine. But you just got to remember when you actually go to deploy this right here has to be your actual site. So if I were to do Cadeligy, I would just, cadeligy.com/. So just change that before you deploy, and then you should be in good shape there. So that's pagination for this. And I know this video went kind of long. I apologize, but I think that we are looking pretty good. The last thing we need to add is our contact page, which we'll do in the next section. And then we do some quality of life changes. So I'll see you then.